Does Bernie have a chance in 2020, or is his campaign already over? Now, just for today, we won't go into any of Bernie's policies, but with a name like Capitalism.com, you could probably guess our bias. Instead, we're gonna analyze the Bernie Sanders campaign from a marketing perspective, and we're gonna look at whether or not he has a chance. And based on that, we're gonna make some bold predictions. During the 2016 election, Bernie Sanders was a phenomenon. He nearly won the Democratic nomination. And had it not been for some, dare I say, collusion, he might have won. Even though he didn't win the nomination, he was very successful at changing the debate and bringing some new issues onto the platform. However, that might play against him this time around. Here's why. In times of crisis, like war or death of a leader or a depression, we cling to what is familiar. But in all other times, we pay attention to things that move or things that are new. We don't pay attention, we ignore, we even resent the things that we perceive to be of the past or old, or we already tried that. That's why President Roosevelt won the presidency 4 times in a row, because we were in dire crises. But if you look back over the last 50 years, every president who's been elected has been, at some point, perceived as an outsider. That's why Hillary Clinton had such a hard time unifying her base, while Bernie Sanders seemed to come out of nowhere with a new, fresh perspective. At least it was a new, fresh perspective for millennials who don't know how socialism ends. War, death, poverty. Sorry, I promise to just stick to marketing. So unfortunately for people who are feeling the burn last time around, Bernie probably peaked too early. Something that he could have done differently was just keep campaigning through the last election and sucked all of the energy out of this year's nomination process. But that's not what he did. And now, since the economy is pretty darn good and we're actually ending wars instead of starting them, Democrats are scrambling to find a new leader, which is why there's like 51 people running for president right now. One thing Bernie could have done is stayed out of the election and played kingmaker, because he is the champion of the extreme left right now, and they need his support in order to get the party together. But since he entered the election, there's a good chance that he'll lose his influence in the Democratic Party. We know this because he's not even leading the charge in his wing of the party right now. That's being led by a 29-year-old first-term congresswoman. And she can't even endorse him because that would be political suicide, because the last thing she needs right now is to endorse a candidate that's probably going to lose. So watch for AOC to hold back her endorsement at least until the Democratic Party narrows the field. Now, I have predicted that there's only 2 people on the Democratic side that could potentially beat Donald Trump if they win the Democratic nomination, and that's Bernie Sanders and Michael Bloomberg. However, based on marketing trends, neither one of them stand a chance to actually get the nomination. Here's why. Democrats need to unify their base, but they also need to stand out. Again, the human brain right now is looking for something new. It's looking to attach to something with momentum. And with all of the infighting going on among Democrats right now, they probably don't stand a chance. Bernie Sanders himself caught flack for doing a response to the State of the Union, something he does every single year because he was perceived as taking energy away from Stacey Abrams. When Bernie Sanders is accused of doing something racist and anti-women, you've got a crisis among the party. So here's the bottom line. If the Democrats want to have any chance in this upcoming election, they need to have a person who can stand out and control the news cycle, because the news cycle is shorter than ever. This is why you're going to see over the next year the field stay very wide, because there's no one on the Democratic side who is good at keeping the attention of voters. And they're running against somebody who is probably the best in the world at doing it. The Democrats' best bet right now would be to instantly unify behind 1 or 2 people. And right now, the only people who've got a shot at winning the actual nomination are Kamala Harris or Cory Booker. Bernie Sanders in 2016 could win today. If he had the momentum that he created back then, he's probably the best candidate who could possibly beat Donald Trump. Unfortunately, he peaked too early, and rather than use his power to knight the next person to lead the Democratic Party, he tried to reignite the momentum that he had in 2016. That's simply not going to happen because human beings are wired to look for what is new, not to go back to what existed in the past, especially when times are really good. So by running as a Democrat in 2020, Bernie Sanders may divide the party instead of unite the party, which is probably going to usher in 4 more years of Trump. My name is Ryan Daniel Moran, and I believe that no matter where you fall on the party spectrum, the best shot you've got at creating the change that you want to see in your world is by not waiting for government, but by you taking personal responsibility and by being a champion of personal freedom. We start by helping entrepreneurs build businesses and invest the profits. To join us, subscribe to the channel and check out our podcast at capitalism.com. Thanks for watching.